I'm the Health, Safety, and Environmental Manager at Cedar's Mediterranean Foods in Haverhill. I've been with the company about a little over 4 years. And you can see there on this first slide a variety of the products we make. We make so many kinds of hummus, I can't even count them. We also make our own and incorporate that in some yummy dairy products, some dips. We have a salad department. We make other dairy, and we do a lot of co-packaging for all kinds of grocery stores and other companies. So there's a lot going on at Cedars these days. And we're trying to work with the TUR Lab. What I'm here to work with the TUR Lab to try to find some safer cleaning and sanitizing alternatives. So I've done some work with the OTA, Office of Technical Assistance. So I want to put in a blurb for them. I had landed here at Cedars in July of 2018, and in the fall of 2018, we invited OTA to come in and take a look at our environmental programs and see what we could work on and possibly do better. And that was a very beneficial experience. So I would recommend that to anybody who's, and that was free. A couple people came in and gave us some ideas on things we might need to look at for our air emissions, some ideas for water conservation. And they also said, hey, you should take a look at this Kettle Cuisine case study. Kettle Cuisine makes soup in stainless steel tanks, and we're making hummus in stainless steel tanks. And we're using sodium hydroxide also, and they were interested in finding some safer alternatives. So I read the case study in 2018, and that's what kind of started the idea that I've had in the back of my head for 4 years to maybe work with the TUR Lab someday ourselves. We currently use a lot of sodium hydroxide and some other chemicals. I'll give you more information about that in a minute to clean our tank systems. So from left to right here, we have homogenizers that make the chickpeas all uniform. And then that goes to batch tanks, the second photo there, where they open that little porthole and add flavorings and seasonings to make all the different varieties of hummus. Then the third picture there is one of Cedar's claims to fame is we pasteurize our hummus. It's not raw hummus you're getting. It's been pasteurized. So our customers love that it has a shelf life of 60 days. So that's fueled our growth, I think. And the fourth picture there is a holding tank. We have a lot of those, and that's where the finished hummus gets held in a chilled environment until it gets pumped into a container and a filler. So I took a lean manufacturing class. I got an email from TUR. He said, hey, we have one spot left in this lean manufacturing class for food and beverage manufacturers. And this was free. And I said, wow, are you kidding? I would love to learn more about that. So I signed up and then went downstairs and asked my boss if that was okay, because I really wanted to take advantage of this great opportunity. That was a wonderful class. And that was free to the 10 people who participated through an EPA grant that Joy Onash, who was working at the TUR at the time, got from the EPA. And then after the class, Joy got another EPA grant, and she said, hey, would any of you who took this lean manufacturing class be interested in hosting a pollution prevention intern? And I said, sure I would. So we ended up having a good experience with Amelia Wagner that you just heard from a little while ago. And she worked for us for 12 weeks in the summer of 2022. And that was great because of the EPA funding. We had to cut her a final check of $586. So we had her on site for 12 weeks for the bargain price, thanks to that. So another wonderful thing we got for free because of Tori's work with the EPA. So she was initially started working on documenting where some of our food waste was occurring. But you know how it goes when someone with the clipboard is watching you, you might not be doing the same things you're doing when they're not around. So it didn't seem like anything was materializing for her that would be a good project for her to get into over the summer. As the summer wore on, she told me that she had TUR Lab experience. And I went, what? wow, that would be so great if we could get something going with Turi and switch directions, maybe from food waste to safer cleaning and sanitizing. So she filled out the Turi Lab application, which was not very long, just a couple pages. So don't let that stop you from trying to work with Turi. That was one of the things that had kind of stopped me. You know, we're all so busy, and when if your company's growing and you're getting into a million different things, I'd had the application and just hadn't filled it out. So my intern did that for us, working with us to get all the information. And then she actually began working during her internship with Alicia in the Turi lab on doing a first round of evaluating safer cleaning and sanitizing alternatives last summer. And that work is still ongoing. And there's Amelia Nye down there in the corner. Okay, the next few slides I took out of Amelia's presentation, her final presentation to us. Love that the water droplets in the corner. I thought that was great. So this is a baseline of what we're using on the left, the chemicals that we're using, and on the right, we won't dwell on this now, but these chemicals, you know, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, sulfuric acid, a lot of severe chemical health implications. We do use diluted forms of them often, but still, any reduction or replacement of these would be beneficial. And here's Amelia's lab setup. So on the left in the picture, you see the sample coupon she's working on. We used 304 stainless steel and 316 stainless steel because that's what our tank systems are made out of. And we used chocolate hummus because we figured that would be the one that would be the hardest to get off. In the middle, you can see she's got her ultrasonic setup there. So she's using different cleaners and different temperatures and ultrasonically agitating the coupons to see what kind of results we get. And they were looking at gravimetric visual and an ATP measurement to see how clean they got it with the different tests. And as she spoke of, they evaluated different cleaners, an enzymatic cleaner, lactic acid, PBW is actually something that's used in the brewing industry, and then some alternative sanitizers, lactic acid, and some other things there. And there's those sample coupons. So we have blade scrapers inside of our tanks that scrape off most, but not all of the residual hummus. And she did a pretty good job, I think, of replicating that, just kind of leaving a little bit on there, but not too much, because the blade scrapers get most of it off, apparently. Based on the initial round of testing, Amelia recommended replacing 5229 AFCO, the one with sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide in it, with an enzymatic cleaner, replacing the 5229 AFCO with PBW, and replacing the 4325 Perox sanitizer with the lactic acid sanitizer. There's a lot of testing you can do, because once you find some things that work, of course you want to play with it, alter your concentrations, temperatures, and the goal is getting something that works and using as little of it as possible at the lowest temperature possible, so that you're saving energy and saving chemicals as well. And then we also wanted to talk to the vendor, our current vendor, find out what enzymatic, lactic acid, other solutions they may propose. One of my bosses once said, it's easier to do something with someone than do it to them. He was talking about safety, but it applies to a lot of things. And I wanted to include our current chemical vendor in this process. And I did a little education with our local rep. And then on the next slide, Alicia and Amelia had a hour-long phone call. I think the regional vice president or something from our chemical company and also our local rep met with them, and they discussed different alternatives, and AFCO provided them with information on some different products that they had. And then this is a great table here that Amelia just gave me recently. So they put all the safety information on these different alternatives into the P2OA CIS analysis and got different scores. So the scores were in all different hazard categories. And then down on the bottom, there's a kind of a weighted average. And you can see that I think the highest score was 7, the highest weighted average in some of our current products. And there were a couple alternatives that went down as low as 5.1, 5.4, not huge reductions there, but a little bit. And this gives you a lot of information to consider because your site may have certain things that you're more concerned about than others. So I like the fact that it gave you scores in different areas. So where we are right now, you know, we didn't get any chemicals that had a hugely better score, a little bit. Some had comparable safety scores, but perhaps greater dermal toxicity or some other property that we really wouldn't like. So we're still chewing on that data, and we need to meet as a team here at Cedars and deciding which of these chemicals we'd like to test from our present vendor, or do we even want to think outside the box and give TURI the green light to test a few chemicals from other vendors that may work? And after that, if we do further testing with TURI and some solid alternatives emerge, the next phase, of course, would be pilot testing, trying a different cleaner and a different sanitizer on one of those tank systems that I showed you in the previous slides and seeing how that works. So we're excited to continue this journey with TURI and work with Alicia and Amelia. We appreciate their help.